Welcome to today's installment of Audit Austin Code Compliance. I'd like to introduce you to Farah Presley. She is a Code Inspector A, which is the lowest level of Code Inspector we have in the city of Austin, other than Code Inspector Trainee. This is her picture. It's taken at a parade over by Evergreen Cemetery on MLK Boulevard. And so you can see that she's got a shirt with a big gold badge on it, and down there on her belt is another clip with a big gold badge. Let's look and see what the city of Austin has to say about employee Presley Farah Fawn, Code Inspector A, Code Compliance, white female, hired on July 28th of 2014. Base salary is $37,606.40 a year. Her registration with the Texas Department of Health as a code enforcement officer, not required by the state for City of Austin, but they do it anyway. Her license number is 5767. Effective rank date was 8/14/2015. So again, they have a year once they get hired in order to pick up that certification. And her hire date was July 28th of 14. So let's go ahead and take a look at a case log that Ms. Presley handled and see the quality of work that she does. So this is a case log, Code Compliance Case 2015-011181 for the address of 7902 Tiffany Drive. You see the property owners here. There was a complaint received on January the 30th of 2015 of a garage conversion with no permits. So Farah Presley is assigned on January 30th. February the 2nd, just a couple of working days later, Ms. Presley states that she went out to the address of 7902 to see about a complaint of a garage conversion with no permits. As she was approaching the house, she did notice the garage was enclosed and had two front doors in the front of the garage. And on the way to the door, the side of the garage had two small circle windows. She tried to make contact with the owner, but no one was home, so she left a door hanger with some information about garage conversions and how to obtain permits and requested a call back. Then she said she did find violations, that the garage was converted into an office with no permits were pulled. And how she does that is she goes to the city's website and looks for permits underneath that address, but the city has got a large amount of problems. They don't have permits dating back as far as they'd like, but they'll tell you that anyway. She finally reaches the homeowner about a garage conversion. The homeowner explained that he bought the house. When he bought this house in 1999, he was informed that it was a model home and they used to sell houses in the subdivision. He was told that the garage was built into an office, and the inspector surveyor said that you could tell it was originally built at the same time as the house. Ms. Presley states she has not been able to find any paperwork saying that this garage was anything besides a garage. Okay, so she's saying that she looked, but she can't find any paperwork. Again, the problem is city doesn't have paperwork. They can't find an email from 6 months ago. So the homeowner is going to try to gather up as much paperwork as possible and prove this, and I'm going to do more research on my own, and then she states the wife's name. So this goes on for quite a while. Basically what she did was she sent him a notice of violation. She's convinced that they did the garage conversion, that they're responsible for it. What happens is she sends him a notice of violation. We'll go over that here. And she cited them with violating Austin City Code, section the building permit required. Here's the code here. And says that they basically need to get permits. So let's take a look at the notice of violation. So here's the notice of violations that Inspector Presley sent out. She listed the homeowners here, described the lot and the parcel number. She claims that there was an investigation relating to the property and found that they required immediate attention. After the receipt of the notice, now here's where they start encumbering your property. You may not sell, lease, or give away this property unless you have provided the buyer leasee, or other transferee with a copy of this notice and provided the name and address of the buyer to the code official. I don't believe that's legal. First off, you're innocent until proven guilty. So we'll get down here, and then the ownership records. This is a form letter that they send out. Here's the problem here. Failure to correct. This is the threat. If a violation is not corrected, any existing site plan, permit, or certificate of occupancy may be suspended or revoked by the city. If the site plan, permit, or certificate of occupancy is suspended or revoked, the utility service to this property may be disconnected. This is all after you go to court and are found guilty in a court of law, not just because some code inspector A decides she thinks you're guilty of an infraction. They're not brought into compliance within the time frames listed in the investigation report. Criminal charges may be filed against you in the City of Austin Municipal Court, subjecting you up to fines of $2,000 per day if you're convicted. Again, so she proudly signs it as a piece of good work, and again she lists the code section of the building permit required, and basically tells them they have to get 30 days to obtain a permit. Obtain a permit, or else we're going to shut off your electricity and fine you $2,000 a day. Let's look and see what the city code says about this. Well, it used to be years ago, before the invention of the internet, for those of you who are youngsters, that somebody of authority could tell you anything they wanted to, and you had to believe them because you couldn't look it up. But today, we have a thing called the internet, and anybody can do research. And here on the city code, chapter 1, section 1, 99, offenses, general penalties. This is where we're going to be talking about what is an offense of the code. Any of the codes, the ones that these people go out and try to enforce. So a code creates an offense when an act is prohibited, declared to be unlawful, made an offense, or made a misdemeanor. Again, these aren't felony crimes. This is like jaywalking or anything like that. The doing of an act is required. Highlighted here in yellow. A, subset 2, the doing of an act is required, or the failure to do an act is declared to be unlawful, made an offense, or made a misdemeanor. Okay, that's important. You have to do it, or failure to do it. Again, if you bought it and it was done in 1986, how can you be held responsible for this? So, any offense of the city code is a Class C misdemeanor. Go to section B. If the code does not state the penalty for the offense, here's where you have the fines of $500 or $2,000 a day. Then, of course, they give themselves a little out. A city employee or agent does not commit an offense under this code if the employee or agent fails to perform a ministerial or an administrative duty or take action required underneath the code. The golden parachute. Our employees can screw up all they want, but hey, if they screw up, it's not an offense. So let's take a look and see what the state law has to say about misdemeanor crimes. So the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Chapter 12, Limitations. Now, Carl Smart, in his arrogance and ignorance, will tell you that if you own a piece of property, regardless of when the action happened, you're the current property owner, and you are responsible for everything that has happened to that property in the past. That's simply not true. Mr. Carl Smart has been shown this in the past. Here's the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures, Chapter 12, talks about limitations of misdemeanors. Now, if you look at the highlighted section, Article 12.02, misdemeanors, a complaint or information for any Class C misdemeanor may be presented within 2 years from the date of the commission of the offense and not afterward. This is very important. This house was built with an enclosed garage as an office. It was never had a garage in it. We're going to show you that in a minute. But there's a statute of limitations for going after Class C misdemeanors. A, you have to prove that the person did it, and you have to prove that they did it within 2 years. A complaint or information for any Class C misdemeanor may be presented within 2 years from the date of commission of the offense and not afterward. There is a statute of limitations. Let's see the history of this house. All right. This is a cut and paste from the Travis County Appraisal District. Anytime you want to research a piece of property in Travis County, the Code Department actually goes to this website. Now, of course, this website has a huge disclaimer on it. It's for informational purposes only, that it can't be used for legal things. But we all rely on this. And so here we have the address, 7902 Tiffany Drive. There's the owners. So we are on the right property. We're going to scroll down here, and it's going to give us the history of this home. This home was built in 1986. It is 1,720 square feet. It's got a porch, an air conditioning system, a bathroom, an undecked covered deck, a fireplace, an OBS fence, and masonry trim. There's no mention of a garage anywhere in this. Okay? This is indicating to me that there was never a garage there. It was an office in 1986. As the current owners state, it was a model home. So let's check that theory. Now, this is 7902. Let's look on either side. Let's go to 7900 Tiffany Drive. Here's the TCAD reference for it. We scroll down. We see that it was built in 1987, but look, garage attached. This one shows a garage, the other one didn't. Let's go to the other side of the home. Let's go to 7904, garage attached. So this is 7904. The Travis County Appraisal District clearly shows garages on the homes on either side of the home in question. This should have been proof enough that that house was built with an office instead of a working garage. But Ms. Presley decides she's going to prosecute them or threaten to prosecute them unless they go get the permits. Let's see what that cost. Okay, so the owners were told they had to go down and get permits to fix something that was from the 1980s that they didn't do, but they were being basically blackmailed and hijacked with threats of having their utilities cut off or facing fines of $2,000 a day. Now, they could have fought it, but they do what everybody else does. They weigh the options. Do we go get a permit, or do we spend a couple $1,000s in court fees? And even if we win our case, we still have to pay the court fees. So they went down and got a permit for a garage conversion. Okay, this is the permit review. They ended up having to put up all kinds of diagrams and things like that. $342 for a combined plan review fee, $13.86 or 68 cents for a development surcharge fee. Now we see the reason behind this. The city of Austin wants some more money. Let's look at the building permit. Again, we'll zoom this up for you. The building permit, well, that only costs $64, and the development surcharge, that's $2.56. Altogether, this homeowner had to spend $442.24 to get a permit for something that happened back in the 80s, because the city of Austin doesn't have good records dating back that far. Hell, they don't have records dating back to the 2000s. And so this homeowner had to take time off work, go through a bunch of work to get permits, all because a code inspector a rookie code inspector for the city of Austin, who uses the term code enforcement officer, failed to do her homework, failed to look to see if this home was actually a model home. She took it upon herself to write a notice of violation, jack these people up, send them down to the city, spend over $400 and uncounted hours to get a permit for something that they didn't do. This is arrogance, this is ignorance, and it is abuse of authority under the color of law. They weren't required to do this, but they were forced into a situation where they had to choose between two evils. Go spend about $500 and get it done to satisfy Miss Presley, or fight it in court, take time off work, hire a lawyer. So it's essentially a blackmail. Carl Smart knows better, but this is the low-hanging fruit on the tree. Carl Smart uses good people like Miss Presley and sends them out to do the dirty work. And all the time, he'll sit down and tell everybody.
Yeah, our inspectors are some of the best trained, actually, as far as code enforcement officers in the state.